Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another daily devotion. I'm Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church, and I do these devotions Monday through Friday of each week. This devotion is for Friday, June 3rd, 2022. We are in the 16th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. We're working our way through Matthew, and we are in verses 13 to 20. This is entitled in the NRSV, Peter's Declaration about Jesus. Now, in the beginning of chapter 16, which follows, chapter 16 follows the miraculous feedings and some healings and whatnot, but we've got the Pharisees and Sadducees coming to test Jesus and wanting to find out who he is. Well, we're going to find out who he is now. But the reason they're doing that is because what Jesus talks about in verse 13, who do people say that I am? And then the disciples tell him, well, some say you're this, that, and the other thing. But now Peter then is going to acknowledge who he truly is. This all takes place in the region that's now the Golan Heights in Israel. It's the Caesarea Philippi area, and this is a beautiful area. It's an ancient area, an ancient city there, Roman city there. There is a temple to Pan there. It's been a place where people have gone for centuries and centuries and centuries. It is an old area. It's a beautiful area. We were there when we were in Israel. Beautiful, beautiful place. Any rate, let's jump into the scripture and we'll talk about this just a little bit more. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then he sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. Okay. At any rate, here Jesus is asking them, "Who do people say I am? What are they talking about me? What's the skinny on who people think I am?" And they say, "Well, people got all kinds of ideas, apparently." But then Jesus says, "Who do you think I am?" And Peter is the one that speaks up and identifies him rightly as the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Now, the point at the bottom here is when Jesus, in verse 20, he warns them after all of this talking about the rest of this, we'll talk about in a minute. He then says, he orders them not to say who he is. Well, why would he do that? Well, it's because, again, as we've said so many times, he's not the Messiah that they're looking for. The Pharisees and the Sadducees are coming to test him because the Messiah they're looking for is going to conquer the Romans or whoever the oppressors were at the time. And that's not what Jesus is coming to do. He's coming to overturn death. He's got a bigger enemy in mind than just the Romans. He is here. And that's why he says, "Blessed are you, son of Simon, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven." The Spirit has revealed, though we haven't had Pentecost yet. And then he goes on and talks about Peter, and it's a play on words here where he says Peter. Peter is the word rock, and he says Peter, Petra, and on this Petros rock, on this, and the question then is, of course, the Catholic Church interprets that as Peter being the rock. Most Protestant churches would say, no, he's saying, "You, Peter, on this rock," and he's referring back to himself. "I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it." And they don't. Just remember what happens on the cross. Death has no hold. He conquers death. He rises from the dead. The gates of Hades, the dead. That's a common euphemism for death. The gates of Hades will not prevail against it. And of course, the Sadducees, as we talked about before, they believed in Sheol or Hades, and that was just a place of the dead. That death cannot hold him. So he has conquered death. It's bigger. The Messiah has bigger fish to fry than just the Romans. He is dealing with death. Life everlasting with God the Father. And that's what we've got going on here. And this is him identified himself as that is what he's about to do. In a little bit short while later. All right. With that, I'm going to let you go because it's Thursday night and I've got some things to do. Have a blessed evening, and please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you all on Monday. Take care.